Hello, Nigeria. There's no better place to be, so don't you ever change that dial. What's up, everybody? It's Kabam Zasukwa, and you're watching Hello, Nigeria.
Nigerian Institute of Architects Lagos Chapter is set to host the Lagos Architects Forum from the 10th to the 13th of May 2017 with the theme Lagos 8.0 and architectural autopoiesis at the Jasmine and Zena Halls Expo Center of the Eco Hotel and Suite, Victoria Island, Lagos. It is a 3-day event that will provide a number of unique opportunities to meet with other key players and stakeholders in the construction industry, with several activities lined up, which includes educational and professional sessions, workshops, exhibitions, and much more. Corporate bodies and organizations can also promote their products and services right there. Benefits of participating includes learning from experts and understanding the current economic climate. You can also update your skills and learn current trends and designs, developments, while furthering new partnerships and collaborative ventures. Notable speakers at the forum include Bishop Matthew Kuka, His Royal Majesty Nnemeka Achebe, Architect Theo Lawson,
Francois Aramide Akiosho,
Kala Towson, Joe Osiado, Kunle Adeyemi,
Jennifer Mbisi,
and at the Lagos Architects Forum 2017, an unbeatable investment of time and resources.
Welcome back to the show. It's time for our top story, and we hope that that video gave you a teaser into actually what we'll be looking at today. We have two distinguished persons here with us on our set. The first one is the Lagos State Chairman of the Nigerian Institute of Architects, Lagos State Chapter. His name is Architect Fitzgerald Umar. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
And by my immediate right, we have the Secretary, the Nigerian Institute of Architects, Lagos Chapter. His name is Architect Samson Akinyosoye. Thank you for joining us.
It's a pleasure to be here.
So we are aware that your Lagos State Architects Forum is coming up. But before we talk about the forum, let's look at some major issues we've had in Nigeria. Now, there were times when we saw a lot of building collapsing. In fact, there was a very notable one that we all knew of that took place somewhere in Lekki, and even the one at a certain church. And for a long while, we've been wanting to have architects on the show to talk about it. What do you think, or what is a major reason why we see a lot of these building collapses?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Talking about building collapse, it's something that has been around us for a while, and we're particularly unhappy with it. But talking about it, building collapse, it's something that actually happens when, for so many reasons. One, proper procurement of contracts. A couple of times, people just get people to do some drawings for them without doing the needful. Because if you want to go into construction, you must first and foremost engage the consultant. The consultant, I mean the architect, the structural engineer, the mechanical engineer, the electrical engineer, and all that. Also, you have to also do soil test, which tells you the bearing capacity of the soil you're going to build on, which the structural engineer will now tell you, this is the type of foundation you need to use. But what happens a couple of times is some people get this drawing from the architects, get some people, sometimes not really architects anyway,
Draftsmen
just
sometimes.
like that. So just gets people put some drawings together for you and they tell you, okay, they are fine. Why? Because they possibly don't want to pay. And they look for a way, sometimes they don't even get government approval, and they just go to sites to start construction. What do you expect when the basic things that needs to be done are not done? So that's the major problem. So what we are saying, for you to, for building collapse to end, first and foremost, the right people need to be hired. The right contractor needs to be hired. The right process needs to be followed. Building approval must be gotten. Governments must come in place. A couple of times, these things are not done. So what do you expect?
So people are basically trying to cut corners in a bid to have what they should have at a certain, through a certain process. They're cutting corners, and that's what we we end up with.
Now let's look at the population of Nigeria, over 200 million people. We have a huge housing deficit, and I want to know what the Nigerian Institute of Architects is doing about this. Is there a way, of course we understand the cost of building materials and all of that also factor in this, but is there a way you can infuse design and architectural planning to reduce this and make housing more affordable for the ordinary Nigerian?
Talking about policy, the housing deficits,
Yes.
we are over 200 million. We are aware that we have lots of shortfall in terms of housing. Now, I know the federal government will have different housing policy. Lagos State came up with a particular policy, which we're hoping and praying it works. Now, for the architects, we are about 4,000, something, right?
Yeah, right now.
Lagos chapter? Or
No, the
nationwide?
nationwide.
That's quite
So which
little.
is, you know, there's a great, that's an issue on its own. But beyond that, the policies by government need to be followed through. These policies need to be backed up with finance, need to be backed up with processes that will help the citizen assess this policy in terms of funds. We know we have Federal Mortgage Bank. We know we have NHIS, which you put in 25% and government gives it. But the major problem is members are finding it difficult to access these schemes. That is just the major
Actually,
problem.
about four things make affordable housing possible. First is the issue of land and land reforms. It must be easy for people to acquire land and then be able to have ownership of it.
Which is still a little bit of a problem.
This at the moment. Secondly, the issue of financing for construction. In other developed climes, we have a robust mortgage system. Here in Nigeria, for you to own a house, you still must provide 100% of what is required. But there, when you work, you have access to funding, you have your house, then you pay over time. Thirdly,
You have the finished house.
Yeah,
you have a
Yes,
finished
so
house.
you
Yeah.
have a house.
Singapore, about 90% of Singapore lives
households.
in houses they procured by mortgage.
We still have that in Nigeria, but it's not as popular as possible. I have a friend who got a house via mortgage, but it's not something that a lot of people know is easily accessible. It's a bit difficult.
Apart from the fact that it's easily accessible, you also need to look at the rate.
The rate.
At what
True.
rate is it getting it? You know, and what's the tenor? Mortgage is supposed to last you 20, 25 years.
Yes.
But here you get it at
2 years.
maybe 15, 20%, and you have to pay over a period of 5 years or
Yes, it's
so.
a
So
lot.
it's, for the common man on the street, it's not affordable.
It's beyond their reach. Yeah.
Thirdly, we also need to look at the area of the cost of building materials. Here, it is pretty much expensive for you to put up a building because what? Most of the materials that we use here are imported.
But we have a vibrant cement industry.
Yeah,
It's not enough.
it's not just only
Yeah,
cement
it's
you need
not
for a
Beyond
building.
cement, exactly.
Cement.
You know, you need other materials, you need roofing materials, you need the
Wiring.
tiles, you need electrical materials and all of that. If we take our time to develop our production capacity as a nation, this cost will come down and then many and many more people will be able to afford it. Look at it. Even the housing stock that the state government provided, about 40, 15 million, can the ordinary man that earns 50,000 naira per
It's
month?
beyond their
on
reach
that.
of
So it's
this-
beyond
even
their
the
reach.
civil servants.
So, like he said, it's a harder-headed monster. The variables are plenty that the government needs to actually deal with, but it's not
But
beyond our reach.
What are the stakeholders, the professionals like you, the Nigerian Council of Builders and all of that?
And
doing?
your National Institute of Architects.
Architects.
Yes.
What are you doing about this?
Our own role is advocacy and enlightenment. We know the real issues. We bring it to them. It is up to them to have a policy that could back up the solutions. On our part as architects, we also try to see how you can actually have designs that are affordable to produce buildings that are sustainable. One of the things that also bedevil a building is you have a huge cost in use. You have built a house, then the owner comes in there, he incurs so much in energy cost. He incurs so much in maintaining it, you know. But architects have the skills to actually have models that you know you can build with minimal cost, and then you can also own and run over a lifetime with minimal cost. So it brings you great benefits. So we are playing our part to engage with government. We'll keep telling them, and then we leave it to them to follow the policies.
In playing your part, I'm sure the National Institute of Architects has meetings. Tell us a little about as a secretary, tell your association to us for a bit.
Okay. We belong to a larger body called the Nigerian Institute of Architects. We are in the Lagos State chapter.
Okay.
And Lagos State, as you know, is the center of excellence. And almost everything begins, and then every other person learns from us. As a chapter of the Nigerians of Architects, we have been able to use several platforms to have think tanks of ideas to respond to the various problems that are facing us as Lagosians. One of the big problems we have as Lagosians is the orderly, arrangement of our cityscape. Urban planning, urban design, the management of the urban spheres. And over time, we've engaged with government on what we think we need to do to make Lagos a livable city for all of us to live in. Every society actually has different people in different classes. We have the high class, the medium class, and the low class. And what urban planning is all about is you provide a place for everyone to live in their own space while we complement each other. So, like a program we normally have every year called Lagos Architects Forum.
This is the 8th edition, if I'm not mistaken.
This is the 9th edition.
Ninth edition.
We bring in professionals from all walks of life, and then we put the issues that we have, we put them on the table. We talk about them. We invite government to listen to us. And when we are done, we come up with a position paper and give to government.
Recommendations.
This is what we think is the needful at the hour. And over time, we have seen some of the things we tell them. They have implemented them. And that's why we have seen some of this money is being taken care of. Yeah, building collapse, we talked about it. It has actually reduced because government took a step.
Okay. Okay, sir, let's talk to you, Architect Fitzgerald. Let's talk about the Lagos Architects Forum. Who will benefit from this? Who is eligible to attend? Now, I know some of all this, because they're professionals, they allow only people from their work of life. So is this something that is restricted to just architects, or can I come?
Yeah, thank you very much. This is actually free to all. It's to the general public, those in the built environment, professional bodies, government agencies, because we need people to know. We've actually made it free. Before now, you have to pay to come in. But we just realized that we're trying to talk to somebody who doesn't have money to attend our program. And at the same time, we're also telling the person to pay. So we've tried to get sponsors to make the program free. So when you come in, you have to register. You register to have access to the exhibition.
Do you register before the event, or do you register at the event?
You can actually register online.
Okay.
You can actually register online at on our website, NIA Lagos.org.
So www.nialagos.org.
Yeah.
www.nia-lagos.org.
Okay.
So,
you see
Architect Akin Yosoye,
Yes,
one of the foremost objectives of L.A.F seems to make emphasis on the push for building code and urban regeneration as Lagos is expanding into a mega city. Could you shed more light on this and why this is important?
Right. Because we are becoming a mega city, that status itself comes with a lot of challenges. You need to talk about housing, talk about transportation, you talk about environmental management, you talk about waste management, you talk about even crime, security, and all of that. And all these form the gamut of what designers sit down to think about when a city evolves and gets to the next stage. And this year, at Lagos Architects Forum, our theme is an architectural autopoiesis.
Can you break down
a big grammar.
layman's
Autopoiesis is akin to a biological register. the ability of an organism to regenerate itself.
Oh, I see.
So we look at Lagos. Lagos is moving there. Right about now, they say we are about 20 to 25 million. In another 25 years, Lagos is probably going to be, as it were, one of the fastest growing cities in the world. So we want to ask ourselves, where are we going to be in the next 10, 15 years? How then do we continue to regenerate ourselves?
Speaking of where we're going to be in the next 10, 15 years, Architect Fitzgerald, you're the president. Mr. President, sir, the chairman, sir, please can you tell us what is the future for architecture in Nigeria?
Well, looking at Nigeria a couple of times when I fly, we've not done up to 30% of development in this country, which is one of the reasons I tell everybody that I'm not leaving this country, I'm going to live here. Meaning there's so much potential to do. There's so much to do. So in terms of development and architecture, we can't cope by the time we start. The major problem is government need to back up their policies. Once government back up their policies, try to implement it, I'll tell you that we don't have a problem. Abuja City, that started in 1979, is still in phase 2. Abuja is still in phase 2, and we have different phases. So that is just in Abuja alone. So when you look at the other states, there are still some states that are still sleeping. But Lagos is moving very fast. 3 months ago, they made a presentation of Ekpe Master Plan to us. If you see what Lagos State government is going to do in Ekpe, I tell you, you will just realize that is the future of Lagos.
So that means I need to go and look for a house or quickly go and buy land there.
I can tell you to do that right away.
That is the new Lagos.
Because you have a refinery coming there, you have the airports coming there.
The free trade zone.
Yes.
Yeah, the free trade zone. And they are linking it with Ikorodu. Ikorodu master plan is up already. So Lagos is actually looking at 50 years ahead.
I was going to ask you, like, this vision you're painting for us, how soon should we expect to see this?
It's here already. It's here already. If you see the kind of designs coming up, if you see the kind of infrastructure, what government wants to do. I went to Ekpe 2 weeks ago, and I saw the road linking Ekpe from Ekpe to Ikorodu. I learned the governor just did it shortly after he came in. So which means, this is a governor that loves infrastructure. Look at what he's doing in Lekki, changing all the roundabouts we have there. You will see, look at the bridge in Aja. It tells you that this governor does not have time. He's moving, in the speed of light.
It's less than 2 years.
So for us, we've realized that we have a governor who is listening, and the only common thing to do is to just key into his administration, which is why we are trying to present a document to the state government, a document that will stem building collapse, a document that will also aid the planning, because I know almost everybody has issues with their planning approval, and we're trying to tell government.
So you're presenting this document at your conference,
at the conference, on the last day.
And this conference is open to everybody.
Everybody.
So if you want to be a part of it, you don't have to be an architect. All you just need to do is to be interested.
Yeah, register.
Register. Visit www.nia-org. Lagos.org. I'll take that again, www.nia-lagos.org.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Architect Fitzgerald and
Thank you.
Architect
It's been a pleasure having you on the show.
Samson. Yes, it's been a pleasure having you.
We're glad to be here.
All right, thank you. We're going to a quick break. When we come back, Nnamdi Ekugba will be here with sports.
Nigerian Institute of Architects Lagos Chapter is set to host the Lagos Architects Forum from the 10th to the 13th of May 2017 with the theme Lagos 8.0 and architectural autopoiesis at the Jasmine and Zena Halls Expo Center of the Eco Hotel and Suite, Victoria Island, Lagos. It is a 3-day event that will provide a number of unique opportunities to meet with other key players and stakeholders in the construction industry, with several activities lined up, which includes educational and professional sessions, workshops, exhibitions, and much more. Corporate bodies and organizations can also promote their products and services right there. Benefits of participating includes learning from experts and understanding the current economic climate. You can also update your skills and learn current trends and designs, developments, while furthering new partnerships and collaborative ventures. Notable speakers at the forum include Bishop Matthew Kuka, His Royal Majesty Nnemeka Achebe, Architect Theo Lawson,
Francois Aramide Akiosho,
If I carry you go,
Kala Towson,
you go love Lagos, yo.
Joe Osiado,
Now, excellence, play why in case you don't know.
Kunle Adeyemi,
Jennifer Mbisi,
and at the Lagos Architects Forum 2017, an unbeatable investment of time and resources.